Hello guys! In this video I am going to explain all the uses and properties of the multi-vehicle, a powerful transportation and industrial tool. As always, I quickly make a summary by showing you the in-game guidebook about the multi-vehicle, so you can pause to read or skip this part. About being gentle and careful in lava, we will focus on this aspect towards the end of this video. How much do you want to bet that rain will ruin this video too? So, let's go crafting our multi-vehicle. Being it an high-end and powerful unit, it is not cheap as it requires 3 blocks of iron, 4 blocks of copper and 2 256 EMC, which is a highly compressed form of processed materials that we introduced in the village controller video when speaking about the manufacturing system of this mod. So acquiring a multi-vehicle comes late in the player progression of the game because of the resource cost and industrial infrastructure it requires. Once placed, it cannot be repacked. It can be leashed if you need to move it, pulling it while it has no fuel. Being it a mechanical unit, it will not regenerate health if damaged. You can repair it using copper or iron ingots. This other multi-vehicle is very damaged, almost destroyed. You can see that the more a vehicle is damaged, the bigger the cracks it will show in its textures. Using a copper ingot will repair it for 25% of its health, while using iron ingots will repair it for much more health points. Note that you can repair a multi-vehicle only when it has no one on board and its engine is shut off. The standard color of a multi-vehicle is light gray, as all mechanical units of this add-on. But you can paint the color you like, using any vanilla dye. I am Italian, so I am going to paint my vehicle red. Now, I would you to notice the dark red bar on the rear of the vehicle, which is going to be visible in third-person camera, and the 4 bigger red columns in the habitacle, which will be visible when driving it in first-person camera. These are the fuel level gauges. The one in the habitacle is more precise and sensible to smaller changes in fuel level. As you can see, this vehicle has no fuel, the fuel gauges are all red and I cannot move, and if I try to jump I just give some kicks. The multi-vehicle needs fuel to operate and move. You can refill it by interacting with coal or coal blocks. One coal will refill about 5% of the fuel tank, while a coal block 50%. Notice how the frontal fuel gauge has a denser measurement scale. It takes 20 coal to fill completely from 0. You can't overfill the fuel, meaning that if you have much more than half fuel level, you can't use the coal block to refill, as that would refill half of the fuel tank, spilling it out. You can still use simple coal to refill it, even when on board and while moving. As you see, it has a big storage inventory of 27 slots that you can use to store your stuff, like a trunk. The moment you get on board and ride it, it will start its engine if it has fuel and you can control it like an horse. It has the speed of a relatively fast horse, not the fastest but it's quick. And the moment you get out, if no one is on board, it will shut its engine, preserving fuel. It will only consume fuel while its engine is running. Let's do a test drive. The characteristic that put this vehicle to the top for transportation purposes is the fact that it is able to adapt to all conditions and obstacles, making it the tool of choice for exploration and to cover large distance of uneven and rough terrain. It has 4 powerful thrusters capable of negating fall damage because of controlled descent. The same thrusters also allow for powerful jumps, ideal to overcome tall obstacles during your journeys. Watch the thrusters as I jump. Nice, isn't it? As you can see, the multi-vehicle has custom animations and textures for its states and modes. Did you said water? It can go on water. The wheels turn into propeller drives that allow this vehicle to move slightly faster than a normal boat. Ignore the messages about protected area for the moment. We will cover that aspect later. Thanks to a new entity method introduced in the latest Minecraft update, when you exit the multi-vehicle while navigating deep water, you can stand on top of it without falling, like when using a boat. When the summer drop update will be available, an even better method will be available to make the player always dismount on top of the vehicle, which can be really useful, especially if navigating on lava seas. Other than driving it on land and water, and being able to make high jumps, you have another mode available, A-ship mode, which is enabled when, starting on land, you do a jump powerful and high enough to reach the orange threshold of the power jump bar, as you can see. Once in air mode, you can control the altitude with your look. You slowly gain altitude by not looking down, and you lose altitude by looking at least 35 degrees down. In first-person camera, you can identify the threshold for going down by looking in the blue area of the frontal display. Also note that the commands to get or lose altitude have a slightly delay, but you will master it with practice, as it is not difficult at all to fly this. The multi-vehicle behave like an helicopter, not a plane, so you can also gain or lose quote without having forward momentum. It is important to know that, while in air mode, the multi-vehicle will consume more than double the amount of fuel to keep its engine running. This means that you should keep an eye on the fuel level, because running out of fuel while in air may result in a crash landing and damages to your vehicle and yourself. I have to say though, the perspective from up here is different. I like it. You can land anytime by looking down and touching the ground or water. You don't have to worry about the landing speed. You will always land gently and the multi-vehicle will automatically transform in the new mode, except when running out of fuel. In that case, good luck. The utility of the multi-vehicle is not only limited to your personal transportation needs. It is also useful to transport your guards around. You can switch between single-seater and troop transport mode while interacting with a torch, and you will see the texture updated to show the transportation mode that the vehicle is currently in. When in troop transport mode, you can embark guards by running over them. Village guards are the only military unit that can be transported this way, and guards must not be in hold position mode, otherwise they don't get picked. You can transport up to 10 guards at once with this method. As you can see, these guards are not picked because they are in hold position mode, but if command them to follow me, they will be. And now I can embark them and transport them where I want. While the guards are on board, they can still use their weapons, especially ranged weapons, to engage hostiles. You can make the passengers of your vehicle disembark, if you are not currently in air mode, by interacting with a torch while you are riding the vehicle. This will instantly make the passengers dismount. Note that, if you have passengers in your vehicle, and you exit it while they are still on board, they will get control of the vehicle. Minecraft entities have not an AI good enough to really use it, so, if you find yourself in this situation, you will have to interact with a torch 2 or 3 times to force them to dismount your multi-vehicle, as I am going to show now. As you can see, they are not able to use the multi-vehicle, or any vehicle for that matter. This is the reason for this mod to not have vehicles controlled by other entities. Instead, I adopt the solution of entities that turn into other entities, like if they enter inside of them and drive them from the inside, as I did for the village guards that can be turned into a tank. The same thing will happen when I will introduce the new airship military unit and the cavalry unit that are in program to be released for the summer drop. With the multi-vehicle, you can also transport other entities in the back. You can enable an extra player seat to allow one of your friends as a passenger by interacting with a leather. You will see the textures in the back change to have a saddle in all sides. The second player seat is special in comparison to the other modes because it is not restricted in rotation, so the second passenger can rotate as they like. You can then disable this second seat interacting with a torch. Then you have one more transportation mode. This other mode is enabled interacting with a wheat and disabled using a torch. When enabled, you will see the texture of a leash and you will be able to transport up to 2 other entities of any kind, except military units. So, for example, you can transport 2 pigs, 2 cows, or pig and a villager, etc. Let's bring Mr. Einstein and Mr. Pig here for a ride. Mr. Pig would have never imagined to fly in his life. I am making day for the sake of the video. By the way, I am surprised rain didn't show today. As I said before, you can make the passenger disembark, interacting with a torch while you ride the vehicle. Be careful that if you exit the vehicle without making them disembark first, they will get control of the vehicle, and since their AI is not prepared for it, there could be unexpected consequences. You can force them to dismount by interacting with a torch 2 or 3 times if they got control of the vehicle. Now, allow me to show you a practical use for the mob transportation mode of the multi-vehicle. You know from the video about the village controller that to claim some land, by placing the controller down, you need a vanilla village. A village is defined by Minecraft mechanics by a place that has at least 1 villager linked to 1 bed. So you can use the transportation abilities of the multi-vehicle to relocate a village in any place where you would like to found a new village, and place a bed for the villager to link to, as I am about to show you. Here, for example, we are in the wilderness. I can make the villager disembark, then I place down a bed. The village will automatically link to this bed, showing green particles, because a villager always scans his surroundings to find a new home if he gets too far from the previous one. By linking to a bed, he will found a new village, and this is also confirmed and shown by the message, "You are in a village." Once a new village is placed, you can then even place 1 village controller to claim this new land and its surroundings. So, with this mod, you are not limited in claiming only the villages that naturally generate, but you can found new ones, and you can also make them grow, because if you bring 2 or more villages, instead of only 1, you can then build a farm for them to attend to so they can get food and reproduce, and maybe, this extra population you get can be used to enlist new soldiers or be taxated with the village controller. Sky is the limit, my king. You have the decisional power. But now, it's time to cover the industrial modes of this vehicle, as it is not only a transportation tool. Be aware that to enable any industrial mode, the vehicle must not be in any special transport modes or in fly mode. In other words, you cannot use this vehicle for industrial purposes while you are transporting passengers or while flying. The first industrial mode I'm going to show you is the tree saw mode. It can be enabled spending a copper ingot or copper block while the engine is running. In other words, you have to interact while you are riding the vehicle. A copper ingot will power this mode for 30 seconds, while a copper block for 300 seconds. Note that, while consuming those resources, it still continues to consume fuel for the engine to run. So if you get out of fuel, even with many seconds still left in any industrial mode, your vehicle will stop and shut off. Note how, while in this industrial mode, the frontal and back textures of the vehicle change. Also, you get a measure of the time remaining in this mode with a frontal display that will show a yellow bar level that will slowly turn gray, the lesser operational time you have left before having to spend more resources to keep the industrial mode on. Also note that, while in any industrial mode, the speed of the vehicle will be reduced and it will not be able to enter fly mode, nor to make any powerful jump, as the thrusters are disabled. This also means that you do not get any slow falling, so the vehicle can get full damages. As you can see, the tree saw mode charge ran out, so now we have to spend more copper to enable it back again. We collected a good amount of wood this way, but nothing mind-blowing. It's obvious that nearby forest or jungle biomes can now properly be exploited, just mind deforestation. A copper block grants a much longer tree saw mode charge. You can always stop the industrial mode of the multi-vehicle, even if it still has not run out of charge, by interacting with a torch while sneaking. This requires you to be out of the vehicle. Now I'm going to power off this industrial mode. As you can see, I can't do that interacting with a torch while I am driving it. I need to exit the vehicle and interact with a torch while sneaking. This is a fail-safe to prevent unwanted deactivations while running these modes. Another industrial mode available is the miner mode. It is enabled spending an iron ingot or block for 30 or 300 seconds of operation. While in this mode, the multi-vehicle is able to mine any blocks in a 3-for-3 surface as it touches it moving. Note that in this mode the vehicle will have a particularly slow movement. It can be useful if you need to level some hills and terrain for your building areas. It is particularly handy that the vehicle will automatically place torches as it progresses in its tunnels if the ambient gets too dark, so you don't have to exit and do it manually. While the miner mode is useful to dig and level areas, it can be also used to mine tunnels in an attempt to get resources and ores. Note, though, that it is not particularly efficient in mining large quantities of ores, as it is able to mine large quantities of blocks but falls a bit short when hunting only for ores, so a player manually doing it, especially in caves, usually get a higher return faster. Also note that the vehicle in miner mode is not able to dig down or up, only at the level it currently is. So you have to manually prepare the ramps or holes to make it go down. For example, here I dig a 3-for-3 hole for the vehicle to go down and mine at that level. So this mode is more of a digger, earth mover, or tunnel boring machine than it is really a mining machine. The temptation to go down there to mine is great, but remember that, while in any industrial mode, the multi-vehicle does not have slow falling or high jump capacity anymore, so it will be damaged. Also note that zombies can target the vehicle, as they are attracted to it. Note how slow the vehicle is in this mode. And also note how low is the jump power in this mode. So let me power this mode down, so I can exit this hole and we can move on to the next industrial mode. Reorganizing my inventory. I am taking some copper ingots to repair the vehicle that got damaged by a zombie, and I will use the stone hoe to enable the harvester mode. While in that mode, the multi-vehicle is able to harvest any farm crop it passes on. Let's harvest these crops first. Once you have free farmland, you can enable the planter fertilizer industrial mode. You can interact with a potato, a carrot, a beetroot seed or wheat seed to enable the planting of the relative seed. This will happen automatically as the multi-vehicle will pass over any empty farmland that you have previously prepared. In this mode, the multi-vehicle will also fertilize any non-fully mature crop it passes on. You may want to move around for the fertilizing effect to apply. And that's it. Minecraft Farming Simulator 25. Drifting in the garden. It's not much, but it's honest work. Farmers are the backbone of this country. Don't mess with farmers, Mr. President, or they will end coming with their tractors to throw manure at Parliament. Anyways, in all seriousness, you can seed vast spaces of farmland and also fertilize it in this mode. You can do the same with carrots, potatoes, and beetroot seed, as I am quickly showing you in the following quick clips. Note that, while seeding for any crop, for example while seeding for potatoes, you can still pass over other crops to fertilize them, without replacing the crops that are already planted. So, for example, you can pass over carrots to fertilize them while you are planting and fertilizing the potatoes in the empty farmland blocks. Note also that the crop you are currently planting is displayed in the back texture of the vehicle. And that's it for the industrial modes of the multi-vehicle. Now let me introduce you to the claimed land restrictions that are applied to the multi-vehicle. Allow me to quickly manage my inventory and take the required tools. You remember, from the village controller video, that I set up a claim over the walled fort not far from here. I also made it a capital. By doing so, you remember, I extended the claimed area to a surface of 120 blocks of radius from the village controller. This means that any players that enter that claimed area will be forced into adventure mode. It happens the same also for vehicles that are not able to enable any industrial modes within the protected area. As you have seen, the moment I entered the protected area, my vehicle had any active industrial mode instantly disabled, and I cannot enable it back while I am in this zone. So griefing by multi-vehicle is prevented. But because I am the owner of this land, I can create a permission for my vehicle. To do so, I will assign my team, which is blue, to my capital controller using any banner without sneaking. You will see that it gets its corners blue colored to show this. Now that my controller is in blue team, I can also assign my current team to my vehicle. Doing so, the vehicle will be painted with the color of the team, in this case blue. But this is just a graphical help, as you can repaint your vehicle back the color you want, while it still retains the blue team information. And now, since this vehicle is in the same team of the village controller that claims this land, it can enable its industrial modes back. So let's do this and level a small hill nearby, within the protected land. As you have seen then, you can use the industrial modes of a multi-vehicle within a protected land, with permission. But I want to point out that this should be intended for temporary work, useful if you or one of your teammates want to do some work within the protected land. But this involves a certain amount of risk, because once a vehicle has permission to use its industrial modes, it can produce a considerable amount of destruction. I can just run over this wall and break it. I can level this village to the ground if I want it. To prevent this risk, you just go to your village controller and remove any team from it by interacting with any banner while sneaking. When a village controller is in no team, it will disable all vehicles in its controlled land and reduce all other players into adventure mode, except the owner. So that is the only true and solid protection. You don't even have to remove the team informations from your vehicle, because the industrial modes will be disabled, regardless of the multi-vehicle team, when a village controller is set as not being in no team at all. So I am going to do just that, remove the team from this controller for maximum protection. And now no vehicle can enter in any industrial mode within the protected land. Let's return to the other village. There's just one more feature I want to show you. We will travel in style. Note how, by exiting the claimed land of the village controller we just left, a message is received informing that the industrial modes for this vehicle are now available again. I think I am ready to go to the nether now. There's some darkness I feel. Something bad is happening. No. The rain. For the sake of everything good in this world, for the sake of my sanity, let's get out of here. Let's traverse dimension and take refuge within the fire and lava depths of hell. I have some golden boots so the piglings will not instantly aggro me. We're going there because I want to show you the exploration and transportation capabilities of this vehicle, even in hostile conditions. By the way, I will never cut any evidence of incompetence or bugs from my video, because when you watch them you must have the measure and the level of the real applications of this mod, so you can evaluate if you can live with some of the limitations it or Minecraft itself has. Anyway, now that we are in the nether, we can appreciate the movement freedom that the multi-vehicle gives us, as we are shielded from full damage. We can quickly make powerful jumps or fly to overcome any obstacles we may find, provided that the vehicle has fuel, of course. Note that we are not shielded from live fire, so we may want to take a fire resistance potion, yet we can traverse lava seas freely, because the multi-vehicle is able to hover on it. Differently from the tank, though, the multi-vehicle is not able to exit a lava sea by simply running over land. Once in lava, it requires some help to get back to land. To do so, you need to place a slightly lower block than normal. Good examples of that are dope path or soul sand blocks. Dope path blocks are the most handy, as you just require to place a dope block and the active it with a shovel to turn it into a dope path, and then you can run over it to move from lava to land again. Let me show you. And here we are. Now we can come back to land. Since we are here, let me show you how useful it is to explore the nether flying the multi-vehicle. Note though that the takeoff requires a considerable amount of vertical space, and you must take into account that the Nether has a roof differently from the overworld sky. And you can get hurt if you ascend up to the point to run into the roof, so you may want to quickly look down to descend. I am a Valkyrie now. Watch me in or Sandghost. Get some. Good afternoon, pig people. How's life in hell? I know, inflation hits hard here too. See you later. And that's it for the multi-vehicle guys. In this week I will come with a new update and finally with the full video guide about the team system. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Let me know in the comments your opinions or if you need any help with the add-on, which you can now also find in Nexus Mod's site, other than in MCPEDL and CurseForge, and of course also using the LootLabs links in the description. Follow me to be kept updated with the add-on development, and see you in the next video.